Every now and then you come across something that just makes you go, huh, that's weirdly brilliant. Well, today we've got one of those. It's a lesson plan that smashes together two worlds you'd never expect to see in the same room. Advanced math and, well, faith. So let's dive in and see how on earth this thing works.
I mean, that's the big question right off the bat, isn't it? How can something like faith, which is all about belief and the abstract, be used to teach math, which is all about cold, hard logic and rules? They feel like they're from completely different universes. And the answer, you're not going to believe this, comes from a 6th grade math class. Yep, you heard that right, 6th graders. It's just a fantastic case study in creative teaching, how to take a really tough topic and make it not just understandable, but kinda unforgettable.
Okay, so to really get what makes this lesson so special, we got to get a quick handle on the math part first. We're going to start with the absolute basics, the building blocks of this whole idea, complex numbers.
So what even is a complex number? Well, think of it like a number with two ingredients. It's got one part that's called the real part and another part called the imaginary part. And you usually see them written out in this form, a+bi. Let's break that down. The a part, that's the easy one. It's just a normal, everyday number. Like 5 or -12, whatever. But that b part, that's where it gets interesting. That little I stands for the imaginary unit, which is basically the square root of -1. It's a wild concept that just opens up a whole new dimension of mathematics.
The lesson gives a great simple example, 4 plus 3j. Oh, and by the way, sometimes you'll see a J instead of an I. That's mostly an engineering thing, so they don't get it mixed up with the symbol for electrical current. But anyway, in this number, the 4 is our solid, real part, and the 3 is our imaginary part. See? Simple as that.
So we've got the math down, but this is where the lesson plan takes a fascinating left turn. It builds this really unique metaphor that connects the real world with, well, the divine. And this is really the million-dollar question. I mean, complex numbers? Most kids don't touch this stuff until high school. How in the world do you make that click for a bunch of 11-year-olds? You need a really, really good analogy. And here it is. This is the absolute heart of the whole lesson, the big aha moment. The real part, the A, is presented as everything you can see and touch, the tangible, the human. And the imaginary part, the B, that becomes the unseen, the intangible, what the lesson calls the divine. All of a sudden, a+bi isn't just some boring formula on a chalkboard. It's a story. Okay, so let's see how this incredible analogy actually works when the rubber meets the road. This is where the lesson gets really clever, turning these ancient stories into actual numbers that the students can work with.
The lesson kicks off with a story everybody knows. It gives the students this exercise, asking them to think about David and Goliath, but specifically to think about a kind of strength that goes way beyond what's humanly possible. So how do you turn that idea into math? Well, the lesson lays it out in 3 easy steps. First, you figure out the human, tangible strength. That's your real part. Second, you figure out the unseen, divine strength, and that's your imaginary part. And then third, you just stick them together in that a+bi format. So putting it all together, a student might say, okay, David's regular human strength was maybe a 10, but his divine help was like a 100. And boom, his total strength becomes 10 plus 100j. And look, the actual numbers don't really matter. What matters is the idea that his power was made of 2 parts, one you could see and one you couldn't. And this metaphor isn't a one-trick pony either. The lesson shows how versatile it is by applying the same logic to the construction of Solomon's temple. In this case, the real part is easy. It's the physical stuff, the actual dimensions of the temple that are written right there in the text. You can measure it. But the imaginary part? That's the intangible genius, all the brilliant unseen calculations and incredible plans that were happening inside the builders' heads. All of these examples are building up to one single point, something the lesson itself calls the big idea. And it's about so much more than just finding a cool way to write numbers. It's about fundamentally expanding how we think about what a number can even be. And that big idea is just perfectly captured in this final homework assignment. The students are asked to take this idea, an innumerable company of angels, and somehow represent that as a complex number. Whoa. I mean, that just leads to this fantastic, mind-bending question, doesn't it? How can you possibly use a number, a tool we invented for counting things, to represent something that is literally beyond counting? And here is the ultimate point of the whole exercise.
The lesson isn't actually looking for one correct answer. The whole goal is to get the students thinking about why we invent new kinds of numbers in the first place. It's to show them that as our ideas as humans get bigger and more complex, our math has to grow and get more complex right along with them. In the end, what this incredibly creative lesson really teaches us is something kind of profound. That sometimes, to really wrap your head around a concept that feels impossibly huge or abstract, you just need to add a little bit of imagination, your very own I component, to the way you think.